Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me. If you're live or on the replay, I am going to be recording this. So there's a couple people that messaged me that was not able to come live tonight. So I am going to be sending a replay out. So I'm just going to wait a couple minutes and see if anyone else is able to join us right now. I hope you guys had a good day today. We ended up having a lot of sun and it ended up being awesome, actually. It just makes me so happy driving around in the sun. So if you are here and live or on the replay, my name is Stephanie. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist for those of you that don't know me. So today I'm going to be going and talking about your mood and emotions and basically my story, how I was able to overcome all of those things, as well as crazy PMS symptoms. I want to be able to help you guys out, and you don't have to feel the way that you do. I used to be in that position, and I am so thankful I am not anymore. And it's really important to me that I share all of my knowledge with you guys, so that you can incorporate some of these things into your life, so that you're feeling your best and you're looking your best and you are happy, and you're not having these sad, awful emotions all the time and just having your crazy PMS symptoms. It's uncomfortable. It's hard enough being a woman as it is, and we have all these accompanying things that are really hard to deal with, especially on a monthly basis. So so I'm going to go over my story with you guys a little bit. I'm going to talk to you about how I overcame those through diet and supplements and incorporating essential oils into my life. I'm going to be talking about a little bit about the company that I'm working for. So I am a nutritionist and I have my own practice, but I'm also working with a company that sells natural products, like no chemicals, toxin-free, essential oils and stuff. So I'll be going over all of that with you guys. So I am not a doctor. I am a holistic nutritionist. All of the information and the tips and suggestions that I'm giving to you guys in this video is from my personal experience and what I've learned in school, to be proven to be effective. But I do suggest that you guys check with your physician, your family doctor, to make sure that things that I am suggesting are going to be working for you. Okay? So my depression symptoms started when I was just after high school. So a really close friend of mine had passed away, and that kind of triggered the years of, going through depression. And sometimes it can be something like that triggers depression. And sometimes you just feel like you're kind of born with it in a sense. But this was kind of what triggered mine for me. And every 6 months I would go through bouts of depression, and I would spend a couple of days in my room. I'd be crying. I wouldn't want to go out in public. I had the classic symptoms of depression. Like I just had no joy in any of the activities that I was in. I just felt depressed and down on a daily basis. I felt like emotionless towards a lot of things. And, it's not a good feeling. My mom didn't know what to do. She was trying to help me in all these different ways. And I didn't know how to help myself. And so I ended up turning to, I went to my doctor and I ended up going on medication. And I tried 2 or 3 different medications, and it left me feeling numb. Like it left me feeling so numb and emotionless. And I was not having any of it. I was like, I can't live like this. Like I already am feeling crappy, and now I'm just feeling crappy and numb and have no emotions. And so wasn't having it, and I stopped going off it, and I tried other natural ways to get over my depression. But what I didn't do was I didn't focus on my diet. Okay. And I didn't focus what I was putting into my body, which I now know plays a major role in that kind of stuff. So I was on the right path. I just didn't quite 100% know what I was supposed to be doing. I was at a time in my life, so just after high school, I was at a time in my life where I wasn't really taking care of myself properly. I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was staying out late. I wasn't sleeping properly. I was indulging a lot of sweets and bad foods, processed foods, fast foods, all that kind of stuff. And that just intensified all the the feelings I was going through. I didn't know that at the time, but now I realize that was contributing to a lot of that as well. I also had a lot of anxiety. And so I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. I still get little bouts of it now, but it's nowhere near what it was before. I remember when I was in school, I would be up until all hours of the night, just like having so much anxiety about going to school the next day because I was nervous about either a presentation or something that was going on at school. Like my mind would not shut off and I would have so much anxiety going through me. And so I kind of got used to that. I kind of lived my life around my anxiety and just let that happen as it happened. And then it really got bad before I got pregnant with Len, and just before that, I was working at a job that I hated. Absolutely hated it. Probably the worst job I've ever had. It was a desk job. And, it was nothing crazy intense. I was starting at 5 a.m., but the pressure and the stress of the people I worked with in my environment was very toxic to me. So I got very, a lot of anxiety before going to work while I was in the office, a lot of anxiety. And I had my very first panic attack when I was working at this job. I've never had one before. It looked like my whole body hemorrhaged. My whole body just got blotchy red everywhere. I've never experienced anything like that. My heart was beating out of my chest. I thought I was having an allergic reaction to a food. And then I realized it was a panic attack. And so I ended up quitting my job. I think it's Oprah that says this quote or saying or whatever. I just love it. It says, when you're in a certain situation in your life that you're not supposed to be in, listen to the whispers. And so first it'll be a whisper, and then it will be like a nudge, then it will be a smack, and then it will be like a ton of bricks hitting you in the face. And this was a ton of bricks hitting me in the face. I didn't listen. I knew I didn't like my job, but I didn't listen to all the cues to get out. And finally, I was hit with a panic attack, and that was my cue to leave my job. Left my job, and I have not had a panic attack since then. I did have bouts of anxiety, but the panic attacks were gone. And so that was proof to me that your environment plays a huge role in your feelings and emotions. And I got really bad anxiety again when I was pregnant with my son, Landon, to the point where I couldn't go out in public. I had major anxiety to even go to the grocery store. I didn't want to run into people that I knew. Again, my heart started to beat like crazy. My face went flushed. I was sweating like crazy. And that was really debilitating for me because, here I am carrying my baby. I'm a happy, expectant mother, and I couldn't leave my house. So that kind of kicked a little bit of depression into it as well, because I felt kind of secluded in there. So I've also obviously experienced a lot of PMS symptoms too that I've kind of touched base on with you guys a little bit. This is like a typical thing for women to go through every single month. It's very, very common, but it's not normal to have all the symptoms of like the sore breast, the breast tenderness, the irritability, the bloating, the cramps, like the major weight gain. Like a couple of pounds is pretty normal, but a lot of weight gain around your period is not. And my cravings are out of control. I was, my mood was all over the place. Like you did not want to be around me around my period. So, I definitely have been through all of that, and through all these changes and incorporating all these things into my life, I have now, I don't have cramps before my period anymore. My mood is stable. I barely have cravings. And all that kind of stuff is through what I've learned through nutrition and incorporating the essential oils and a couple supplements as well. Okay. So a couple of things that I did that I'm going to go into a little bit detail about with you guys as well is not only did I change what I was eating and eliminate some of the stuff that was contributing to my symptoms, I also started taking a couple supplements, and I also started to incorporate self-care into my life. And I know that's really hard for a lot of us, especially women, because I feel like we have these expectations upon us. We're always expected to be on, we're expected to be a good partner, a good mother, a good student, or a good a good coworker, and all these expectations are piled on us, and we can handle it, right? We can handle it, we can handle it, we can handle it until we can't handle it anymore, and we're just sort of overwhelmed. And we need to be able to take that time for ourselves to keep sane, basically. And it's a lot of things that we overlook. And so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about that with you guys in a little bit. But, just talking about mental health and like depression and anxiety, 1 in 5 Canadians suffer from a mental disorder. So that's pretty big. And there's recent claims coming out that there's going to be 63% of the millennials that are at risk for a mental disorder. And so that is staggering to me. And so why do you guys think that is? So why do you think in the last few years, all of this stuff has increased? All the mental disorders have gone greater. Like, why do you think that might be? So a couple of things to think about is in the last 50 years, there has been 3,500 new chemicals that have been added to our food. Okay. And there's been 3,000 new chemicals that have been added to into our household through different products that we're using. And so that's insane to me. Just those numbers are insane. I can't believe it. And so what do you think that means? So it means that we can't absorb nutrients. So we all know that there's pesticides and chemicals all in our foods and stuff, but what does that actually mean? It means that we can't absorb nutrients properly. It means hormonal imbalances. It means mood imbalances, memory problems, and mental disorders. So, this is why we have to start taking control back of what we're putting into our bodies. I'm a firm believer in going back to the basics, going back to how we used to do things 50 years ago, because there was nowhere near as many chemicals in our foods. Most of the stuff was local, so your food had a lot of nutrients in it. And we're kind of going off into the fake food department, and no wonder we're having all these issues that are coming up. No wonder obesity and diabetes and all that kind of stuff is as great as it is, as well as mental disorders. So it's something that we definitely need to think about and consider. So let's start with nutrition then. Let's talk about nutrition first. When you aren't getting adequate nutrients in your body, in your diet, your body cannot function properly. Okay. So your cells can't do their job, and you can't, your body is unable to keep you healthy and happy. Your brain needs the nutrients to be able to work properly. And, unfortunately, with the way that the world is going, as I just mentioned, the food quality, the nutrient quality in our foods is declining. So a couple of reasons for that is because we're getting our foods, a lot of them, from other countries. So when they're doing that, they're picking the produce before it's ripe. It's being transported here in trucks, and it's being gassed in the trucks to ripen the food by the time it gets here, so it's not rotten. And so what happens when you pick a fruit, fruits or veggies before its time, is that it hasn't matured enough. It hasn't fully got all the nutrient qualities in there to consume it. So already right there's a huge lack of nutrients in the food when we're getting it from other countries. So that's why when you can buy local, please choose local stuff over something from another country, because you're getting a lot more intense nutrients in those foods. Okay, so super important. Chemicals, trans fats, and fake foods are a huge thing that we need to look out for as well. It makes it really hard for us to get adequate nutrients in our diet when we're buying all packaged stuff. So I'm a firm believer in having the food itself being the ingredient in the food that you're cooking. So, buying stuff from scratch, making things from scratch is not as hard or complicated as some people like to seem it is. I'm a single mom of a 6-year-old. I work 3 jobs, and I'm able to still make healthy meals at home. I prep my food. I do the best that I can. I sneak in nutrients and food wherever I can as well. And I am not one to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, as I'm sure you guys are not either. Everybody's busy, but it just depends on what you choose to make time for. And I feel like our health is something that's overlooked a lot. And this is something that once it catches up to us, we're going to have regrets. It's something that we need to be proactive about so that we're always feeling our best, right? So for example, we should be eating about 5 servings of vegetables per day. So a half a cup is equal to 1 serving a day. So how many servings are you guys honestly getting in your diet right now? So think about that for a second. Like, how much are you actually getting in your diet? If you're having like 3 florets of broccoli with your dinner at nighttime, and that's it throughout the whole day, that is not enough veggies. Okay. So, trying to incorporate more nutrients into your diet is super important. And a perfect example is making a smoothie in the morning, throwing in a handful of spinach into your smoothie and blending it out like raw spinach. There's no taste. It might affect the color a little bit, but there's 0 taste. You can't taste it in there, and you're getting an extra like 1 or 2 servings of vegetables just in your shake. And if that's the first thing that you have in your morning, then you're already supplying your body with a lot of nutrients that way. So I've actually gotten to the habit of steaming a bunch of vegetables and pureeing them and sticking all the sauce into a ice cube tray, freezing it. And then whenever I'm making pasta sauce or any kind of sauce, I'm throwing in a couple of those cubes just to make sure that there's extra nutrients in it. Like, throw in veggies wherever you can. That's something that's super important that a lot of us are lacking, and which is why I feel like most people need to have a really good quality multivitamin. There's a couple supplements that I do recommend that everybody should be having because we're not getting enough from our food, and it's affecting how we're thinking and how we're functioning. So it's definitely something that's really important. So you need to make sure that you're getting enough good fat as well. I think we're kind of over the whole bad fat thing. I know that was a thing of the past where fat's bad, it's going to make you fat. And I think we've all kind of learned that, as long as it's the right fats, those are something that's really essential in our bodies. So our brain is made up of 60% fat, and our brain and nervous system is made up of fat and proteins, and you need to have enough fat. So I live by a higher fat, lower carbohydrate diet personally. I believe a lot of people function really well in that kind of a diet. Carbohydrates are used excessively still. I don't do no carb. I don't really believe in that either. I feel it's unsustainable, but higher fat, lower carb is where most people tend to function the best. So with talking about like the fats and like your brain and the nervous system, something that can damage those is free radicals. So you guys may have heard of that before. Free radicals are unstable molecules that are caused in your body from like the pesticides and the chemicals and trans fats and all that kind of stuff in your body. And so what it does is that's a contributor to how you're thinking and how you're feeling, and can contribute to anxiety and depression and mood imbalances and all that kind of stuff, because it helps you age faster as well. It basically speeds up the process of negative things in our body because it's damaging our cells. And so you want to be able to incorporate good quality fats and not bad. So what causes some of the free radicals as well is trans fats, and those are something that are hidden in a lot of packaged foods. So I really want you guys to get into the habit of reading your food labels. So on the side of the food label where it shows you like the carbohydrates, the protein, the fat, there's 2 different sections, saturated and trans fat. Now you want to aim for 0 trans fat in your diet. Okay. You don't want any trans fats. But the sneaky thing about the food labels with the food industry, and this is something that really upsets me because there's a lot of little tricks out there. You have to really know your stuff when you're looking at food labels, but it can say 0 trans fats on that little label. But if you flip it over, and you need to be able to read the ingredients as well, because anything that's hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated is a trans fat. So they can say legally on the front, they can say 0 trans fat as long as it's 0.5 trans fats or less. So that's why you want to look at the side of the box and see what it is, if there's any hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, because that means that there is trans fats in there. And when you look at the serving size, how often are we actually having the serving that it says on the side? Not very often. So it says either it's usually serving like a 1/4 of a cup or a 1/3 of a cup. We're usually having a lot more than that. And so, if you're multiplying 0.5 of the trans fats that's legally allowed. They don't have to claim it's in there. You could end up having a lot of trans fats in your diet without them having to really claim that you are. So make sure you're always reading your food labels. So you want to stay away from vegetable oils. Vegetable oils are in a lot of packaged goods as well. So those are the ones that become rancid. So they're the most unstable fats. So heat, light, and oxygen are what damage those kind of fats. And so what do they do when they're in packaged foods is they are heated to a point, like it's basically to preserve the shelf life of the product. And it actually is the rancid oil. And so the oils that you want to incorporate into your diet. So if you have any vegetable oils, canola oils, anything like that in your kitchen, throw it out. What you want to have is coconut oil, and avocado oil. Those are your two oils that have a very high smoke point, which means that they can be cooked on the stove and they won't go rancid. They have a very high smoke point, so they won't get ruined when you're cooking with them. Avocado oil, you don't want to heat any more. Sorry, I think I said avocado oil. I meant olive oil. You don't want to heat any more than medium heat with that one. Anything higher and it will go rancid. So that one's good for like on salads, making salad dressings, or just not heating anything more than medium heat with olive oil. And then also, so a couple of good fats that you want to incorporate into your diet. So that has really good omega-3s, which is really good for brain function, as well as hormonal balance and tons of other functions in the body. Chia and hemp seeds are one. Ground flax seeds. So you want to make sure that it is ground. The whole seed just kind of goes right through you. So you want to make sure the flax seeds are ground. Walnuts and fish oils. And so I find that we don't get enough omega-3s in our diet as well. So it's really important to me. So remember I said that there's a couple of supplements I do think that everyone should have. Omega-3s are one of them as well, because personally, I don't eat fish multiple times in a week. And you want to be able to have enough omega-3 for proper functioning in your body. And so this is where a supplement will come in handy for that. Okay, so what do you guys think is the biggest, most harmful thing that we can be consuming right now? So I've asked this question before, and I've had a couple things like come up in conversation, but the truth is it's sugar. So sugar is probably the worst thing that we can be consuming in our diets. It's a huge contributor to your mood imbalances, hormonal imbalances. Most people who suffer from mental health problems experience blood sugar imbalances. And so some cases it is the actual underlying cause as to why they're feeling like that. And sometimes it's just exaggerating what the existing problem is. Like it's making it worse. So the more sugar that is consumed, the more difficult it is to balance your blood sugar. So let me know if you guys experience any of these symptoms: fatigue, irritability, insomnia, depression, anxiety, poor concentration, poor memory. All of those things are related to sugar consumption. And I know that we all have, hang on, I'm just gonna see if I can mute everybody here. One second.
Oops, did I?
That's okay. I got you. Okay, so those are some of the symptoms with consuming too much sugar in your diet. So we really want to make sure that we are paying attention to that kind of stuff that we're putting into our bodies. So as little as 2 teaspoons of sugar compromises your immune system for up to 5 hours. So even just that in itself is something huge to think about. You don't want to be having any more than 6 teaspoons of sugar a day, which is about 25 grams. That may seem like a lot, but when you're actually thinking about what you're consuming in a day, you're going to probably go way over that. So, thinking about all the drinks that you're choosing to drink, all the foods that you're having, like has a lot of sugar. So for example, like a can of Coke in itself has 10 teaspoons of sugar in it. So, you really want to pay attention to that kind of thing. One quick fix, if you do consume a lot of sugar, so Easter's coming this weekend, I'm sure we're going to be indulging a little bit, but one quick fix to balance your sugar again, like bring it back into balance right away, is taking a teaspoon of molasses. So that will help to balance your sugar out in the meantime. not something you want to get in the habit of. So this is not like your cure-all to have sugar whenever you want to, but it is a quick fix to help you do that. So I really want you guys to start reading the labels of stuff that you're getting and noticing the sugar content on there. So examples of good sugars are stevia, honey, maple syrup, coconut sugar, and xylitol. So xylitol, coconut sugar, and stevia are the three better ones out of that. They're all natural and better than like any aspartame or any, you know, other chemical crap sugars out there, or even white sugar. But you still want to be paying attention to how much you're consuming in your body, okay? Coconut sugar doesn't affect your blood sugar as much. Neither does xylitol or stevia. So those are three that should be on the top of your list. A lot of people aren't really into the flavor of the stevia, but it is an adapted taste. And I found that the, what's the brand that I have? It's the Now brand, I believe. Anyways, I found that one's the best. The vanilla flavor is the best one for me. Okay, so sugar also diminishes enzymes in your stomach. Okay, so this means that you can't break food down properly, which leads to lack of nutrients and which leads to inflammation of the gut. And you definitely don't want that. There's more neurotransmitters in your gut than there is in your brain. There's a huge gut-brain connection. And so, you know, if you have a healthy gut, healthy brain. So kind of think of that. If you have an unhealthy gut, it's not functioning properly, you're going to experience a lot more symptoms of anxiety and depression and, you know, mood imbalances that way as well. So the gut is definitely where you want to put a lot of focus into. So serotonin, for example, is the happy neurotransmitter. And so this is something that's mainly in your gut. So just keep that in mind. So sugar also affects the gut flora as well. There is good bacteria and bad bacteria in your gut, and it's okay and normal to have a little bit of both. But when you're consuming a lot of sugar, you're under a lot of stress. If you're on birth control pills, you're taking any antibiotics or like Tylenol, like non-steroid anti-inflammatories, those are going to diminish your good bacteria and you're going to have a crazy imbalance. This affects your mood. This affects your immune system. This affects everything. And so you really want to pay attention to that. And again, one of the other supplements I recommend everyone to be on is probiotics. So how do we balance our blood sugar? So first things first, in the morning, within the first hour, you want to be eating something. So not just anything. You don't want to be having a piece of toast, cereal, anything like that. Those are simple carbohydrates, and those are going to affect your blood sugar and spike your blood sugar, and you're going to be kind of going like this. This is where your mood is going to be affected for the rest of the day. So you want to start off the morning in the best shape possible. And so this is higher fat, higher protein. An example of a breakfast that I have often is a couple of eggs with avocado, a spoonful of salsa, and I'll cook up a little bit of spinach and have that as my breakfast. So you really want to set yourself up for success. If you're not really a breakfast person, smoothies are a really good way to go as well, but you want to be careful what you're putting into them. So you don't want to be putting yogurt, juice, anything like that in there. Water's fine. Berries are lower sugar fruits to have, so those are really awesome to incorporate in there. So water, berries, a handful of spinach, as I mentioned before, so getting that nutrients in to reach your 5 servings per day. No taste to it again, and adding protein and fat. So choose whatever fat you want: avocado, chia seeds, hemp seeds, whatever you want, and then the protein of your choice. And that's like a perfect breakfast. If you need to get in the habit of having breakfast in the morning, just start with like a half a smoothie or a couple sips. Just kind of get yourself in, like, used to doing that and setting yourself up for the day properly. So you want to also be eating between 4 and 5 meals per day. So I find a lot of us, especially who are really stressed and on the go all the time, us women who are, you know, go, we don't eat enough. We definitely don't, especially if we're active. Like, we're not eating enough food, and this is going to affect our hormones. This is going to affect our mood. It's really important to do that. So making sure that you're balancing your meals properly, and getting that in. Okay. So you want to stay away from simple carbs as well. So you want to stick to carbohydrates such as oats, yams, quinoa, beans, stick to stuff like that, and away from like the white bread, white pasta. I think that's kind of been drilled into everyone's head to stay away from that kind of stuff. But I still find a lot of people go towards that, like the bagels and all of that. Like there's so many other options that you guys can choose that fill your body with nutrients and don't affect your blood sugar in the same way. And you want to make sure that you're balancing your meals properly. So every single meal that you're having, think about where your protein is, where your fat is. Okay, there's going to usually be carbohydrates in your meal. So there's carbohydrates in vegetables, or if you're choosing one of the ones that I just suggested, but always focus on your protein and your fat. A lot of people forget the fat. You want to be having at least a thumbful in every single meal that you have. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's move on to lifestyle. So when we're thinking about lifestyle, a lot of people don't really seem to make that connection with that and how your mood is and how you're feeling. Okay, so sleep is the number one thing. This is almost as important as blood sugar that people overlook. I know as moms, you have a couple kids, you're always on the go, the kids are waking you up, all that kind of stuff, but you really need to sort of get into a routine if you can. Getting at least 8 hours a night. So between 7 and 9 is the perfect amount. So a lot of people get a lot less. So like, oh, I function fine off 5 hours sleep. Well, no, you don't. There's a lot more going on in your body that you realize. You might wake up and feel okay, but your body has not had enough time to recuperate through the night and repair your body. So your sleep is essential for repairing, breaking down hormones, repairing what you went through the day, like rebuilding new cells, eliminating old cells, and your liver does most of its work at nighttime as well. So between 1 and 3 a.m. is when your liver is detoxifying your body. So lack of sleep interferes with your ability to process emotions, and it disrupts and throws off your hormones as well. So it's super, super important. So a couple of tips to help with your sleep. You want to make sure you're going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time every night if you can. So, a lot of people have a hard time going to bed before 11. Even me, sometimes I'll get into my show, whatever I'm watching, and I have a hard time falling asleep before 11, but really try, even if you have to decrease it by 15-minute intervals until you get to like 10 or 10:30, try doing that. Going to sleep at a certain time, you will naturally wake up feeling more rested. Even a half an hour makes a massive difference if you can go to sleep. And same time every night, wake up the same time every night. This includes weekends. It does wonders for your body. You need that rest, and you owe it to yourself this is part of the self-care routine that I talked about before. You need to be able to do this for yourself. Make sure your room is completely dark. You don't want to have, a bright alarm clock beside your bed. It's good to keep your phone away from your bed as well. Any electronics, anything like that should be turned off like 30 minutes at least before you go to bed. Because, I've had some clients tell me like, oh, I'm on my phone before I go to bed, and, I turn my phone off and I can fall asleep within 5 minutes. Well, that's great, but your brain function is not stopped for an hour later. So your brain is going for an hour after it's stimulated from electronics. So TV, phone, anything like that, you want to stop that before bed. Like try reading, talking to your partner, like, reading a book with your kids, like just try and think of other things, or even just hanging out with yourself, like cleaning up, doing the dishes, anything that's non-electronic related for at least half an hour before you go to bed. It's going to make a massive difference for you guys. Magnesium is something that I recommend a lot of people have. A lot of us are stressed on a day-to-day basis. And even if you're not knowingly stressed, like you think about, oh, there's nothing stressful in my life, driving your car to and from work every day and having all the demands of a life and a family life is a form of stress. Okay. So magnesium, when you are stressed, magnesium is the first nutrient to be depleted from your body. And so this affects a lot of things. Magnesium is super important for a lot of things, but it helps relax you, it helps relax your muscles, it helps promote sleep. So having it about 15 minutes before you go to sleep really helps. So this is the brand that I use. I use the Magnacom. It tastes really good, lots of different flavors. This one's a lemon. They have a raspberry lemon one too, I think. So I just put a teaspoon in some water, stir it around right before bed. and it just really helps you put you into a really deep sleep. It's amazing. It's awesome. Helps with a couple other things too that I'll go into details about in a little bit. And then having another thing that's really helped me with my sleep is lavender essential oil. So I have a couple of diffusers, like one in every room in my house almost. The one in my room I'll put lavender essential oil in there to diffuse in the room. It helps really put your body into a relaxed state and helps promote calmness. And there's also a Serenity blend from doTERRA too that I'll put in there and helps with that kind of stuff, easing calmness and that. But lavender is amazing for that. I'll also do up a little roller bottle. So I'll do a 10 ml roller bottle and I'll put 20 drops of lavender in here, and I'll top it up with fractionated coconut oil. And you just roll a little bit on your wrists, on your neck, on the bottom of your feet, and that is in your bloodstream within 30 seconds, and it helps also to promote sleep and relax you. So this is really good for anxiety as well. Even just inhaling it straight out of the bottle if you want to really helps relieve anxiety symptoms. So I'll go over a couple more things like that in a little bit as well. So incorporating the self-care that we talked about before. Ladies, I know this is really hard for us. Hard for me too. It's hard to think of ourselves. We're always thinking of other people all the time, making sure everyone else is okay. And we always think of ourselves last. But it's honestly not doing us any good. We need to start putting ourselves first, being a little bit selfish so that you're able to be the best person that you can be for your family and for your partner and for yourself, most importantly. If you don't take time for yourself and really work on those areas of you, this is what also contributes to a lot of mental disorders, and so like the anxiety and depression and stuff, like you need to be able to really focus on yourself. And so do any of you guys currently partake in any activities that create joy in your life? Really think about that, because another nutritionist did a study recently with a bunch of people that had declared that they were depressed based on certain symptoms that I went over in the beginning of this webinar. Again, I will be sending everybody a replay if you missed the beginning, or if you missed this entirely, you'll get the replay for that as well. So her study was based, like all of these people that were depressed, they all had one thing in common. Well, 80% of them did anyways, that they weren't participating in anything that gave them joy in their life. They'd wake up, they'd go to work in the day, they'd come home, they'd look after their kids, make them dinner, go to bed, or watch TV or go to bed. So there was no extracurricular activities that they were doing for themselves. So this is something I've been really focusing on myself lately. Me personally, like I have always kind of gone to the gym. I've always gone to the gym 3 or 4 days a week. That's my release time. Exercise helps release endorphins and it makes me feel good. But I never really was paying attention to really more me. Like I did that for the physical benefits of it and like a little bit of mental stress relief, but I wasn't really doing anything for myself. And I don't mean just going to have a bath with candles and stuff, because I mean, that's really nice and that's really great, but that's not the self-care that I'm talking about. I'm talking about like get out and do things for you that don't involve your kids, that don't involve your family. Sure, put aside time for that too, but I mean specifically for yourself. So for me, yoga is one of them that I'm really starting to get into, and it's for me, and it just helps me clear my mind and helps release all these thoughts from my head. Walking in nature is also something that's like really calming for a lot of people. That's just think of something that you want to do. Is something that, okay, so this has been a dream of mine always. Don't judge me. So I've always wanted to take dance lessons. So like hip hop choreographed dance lessons. And I have finally found a place that here in Vancouver, it's like $100 for 6 sessions. Really good deal. They play like really fun songs and do really like pretty easy, looks probably easier than it is. But anyways, I have made a point that I'm going to go do this. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what I'm doing. Like I want to go out there and I want to have fun and do something for myself. And I want you guys to think of something that you've always wanted to do and just jump on it and start doing it, or just start taking like an hour to yourself and think of something that makes you happy, that brings you joy only. Painting, writing, poetry, going for a walk, or think of something, okay? I would love to know what those things are, because I'm always looking for suggestions for different things, or for my clients that are looking for different things. So if you have a passion or something if you wanted to do, feel free to share. I would love to hear it. Also so journaling also is another one that I would definitely recommend people to do. I never really thought about this until I went to school and realized like all of the benefits that came with journaling and getting your thoughts out on paper. And so there's especially somebody who is experiencing a lot of anxiety. You have a lot of thoughts going through your head. And so, or even depression too. So you want to be able to get this stuff out. And so you're able to reflect so well when you're able to write down everything that you're feeling. Okay, it really helps you relax. And, you can go back and look at it and see the progress, or see what you're feeling a certain day, and kind of like really gain perspective off of seeing where your mind's at from one day to the next, and seeing the progress that you go, and like the, how you're improving as you go along. So I definitely recommend journaling. Creating a positive mindset is something that is imperative for anybody with any kind of mental problem going on. We're surrounded by a lot of negativity around here, and a lot of, even to ourselves, there's a lot of like negative self-talk, I find, that we do to ourselves. We're very judgmental on ourselves, and we're very hard on ourselves. And, there's a lot of negative things that will go in our head. I want you guys to stop that. I know it's hard, but stop doing it. I want you guys, a challenge that I really feel would make a massive, massive difference in your life is, for 24 hours, I want you guys to have a positive mindset and notice only the positive things that surround you in your life. So think about that for a second. Only the positive things. Something negative happens, I want you to find the silver lining of that. Something positive is always there. You can't give me one situation where one positive thing can't happen. As hard as some things may be, or as negative as they may be, or like a disaster of some kind, there can always be something that can be looked at positively. So I want you guys to really think about that. See if you can do that. So spend 24 hours only noticing positive things and reaffirming that to yourself. So you notice a positive thing, say it back to yourself in your head. Write it down in your journal if you want to. Just only notice the positive things. It's going to make a massive difference in your life. Massive. And the negative self-talk. We need to get away from that, okay? We're always doing our best. We are in this place for a reason. I know we're always like doing the best that we can with the situation and the things that are given to us in life, and we need to appreciate that and recognize how strong we are. And nobody's perfect, okay? Nobody is. So I need you guys to get away from the negative self-talk. It is so common, and I think everybody does it to some degree, and it's not doing anybody any favors, okay? It's just exaggerating the problems that we're trying to get over in this webinar, okay? So, a couple of other things that affect your hormones and your mood and stuff like that is trying to reduce the overall toxins in your home. So this is something that made a massive difference to me. So when Landon was born, I kind of went a little crazy and I removed all toxic chemicals, all toxic anything from my home. I made my own sunscreen. I started making everything from scratch. Like I went a little overboard. I'm not that crazy now, but in the beginning I was like, no chemicals around him. That's it. And so after learning what I have in school and throughout my practice, I realized just how important that is and how amazing of a decision that I made to do that, how it's affected my body. So as I mentioned before, all the chemicals that we're putting on or in our skin, the 3,000 new chemicals that are in our home, that is affecting our mood. That is affecting our hormones. That is affecting everything in our life, okay? So I want you guys to really think about that. And that's another reason why I went through doTERRA to sort of eliminate everything else I had and bring in all natural, non-toxic, chemical-free stuff into my home. I literally have nothing. I could show you guys my cabinets right now. I have nothing chemical in there. There is not an oil that doesn't fix something that you're going through. So even like within the top 10 oils, you're getting like digestive relief, you're getting migraine relief, you're getting hormonal relief, anxiety, depression, blood sugar balance, colds, flus, all that kind of stuff. Anything like a really raspy cough, there's stuff that eliminates all of that. You know, my boyfriend the other night was hacking up a storm for a couple of days to the point where like he could barely breathe. I'm sure we've all experienced that when you've had those kind of colds where you're just coughing. And one of the oils is called Breathe, and it opens up the airways in your lungs and stuff like that. And so I put a little bit of that with coconut oil on his chest, and like he had one cough after I put that on, and that's it. That is it for like 4 hours, no cough, no nothing. And he was just like going at it before that. So every 4 hours we reapplied it, and it worked like a charm, and it's just amazing. And a lot of people I find think that natural products aren't as good as like man-made stuff, but couldn't be further from the truth, because I'm telling you, like once you guys experience this stuff, you see just how great it works in your environment. And like, you just have to try it to see what I mean. So anyways, really concentrate on eliminating all toxins from your home. There is an app that I've talked about before. It's called Think Dirty. I have it on my phone, and it basically, you can scan the barcodes of a lot of stuff that you have. So like your shampoo, your conditioner, your face cream, all that kind of stuff. And it'll give you a rating as a scale as to how toxic it is. And so that's one of the things I did, is I went through all my stuff in my house, and anything that was in the red, I got rid of and replaced it with something from doTERRA that was non-toxic, non-chemical related. But I had to throw out quite a bit of stuff, and it's made a world of difference though, because I know that my body is functioning optimally. You know, you can only do so much, obviously, right? There's pollution in the air. There's, you know, certain things that nobody's perfect. Like I said, we're not focusing on perfection here. We're focusing on trying to do what you can, what's in your control, to be able to make the biggest difference in your life. Let's talk about PMS for a second here. So a couple of things that really have helped with my PMS big time. Number one is making sure that you have balanced meals and increasing your fat intake. So those are two things that are super important. I did go over those already when I talked about your blood sugar balance, but those are very important to have your blood sugar controlled for PMS. If you're having insane cravings, it means one of a couple things. So it means that your blood sugar is imbalanced. It means you're lacking nutrients in your body, which are two of the main things, or you're not getting enough fat. So those are the three things if you're having crazy cravings for certain things. So for me, I've always had a sweet tooth. Chocolate has been my downfall, I guess. And so now I make my own chocolate. I put a lot of stuff in it they're my fat bombs. And so that's what I go to when I have a craving. I only need one because it satisfies my craving. But not only that, it's like I have a lot less cravings overall, which is amazing. So magnesium is another one, again, for PMS symptoms. So you want to be taking it, if you're doing it for PMS cramps, you want to be taking magnesium every night. So again, before bed, because it helps promote sleep, 1 week before your period. So it's also a mood stabilizer as well. So it really is helpful in a lot of areas, but 1 week before your period will help reduce a lot of your cramps if you're somebody who gets really painful cramps during your period. Again, a multivitamin, so making sure your body has enough nutrients to be able to support the proper functions of your body. Very important. It's showing my internet's unstable. I hope you guys can just type in the chats. If I lose you guys, just make a comment. So I know, but so far I think it's okay. Okay, so maca powder is another one. So I've talked about this one before. Oh no, I didn't bring it in here. This is an adaptogen. So what that means is it adapts to your body, where your body's at. So it helps to balance your hormones. It helps to increase libido. It helps increase your energy, and it really helps to stabilize anything that's a little bit array in your body. So if your hormones are a little bit off, it really helps to balance those out. That's helped me a lot with my moods and my irritability and my crankiness around my period. So this I incorporate into my fat bombs that I make. And I also will just have it like either in my coffee or, I'll incorporate it into something. Sometimes my smoothies, depending on what I'm making, but it has a bit of a nutty flavor. So just keep that in mind if that's something that you choose to start to incorporate into your diet. Now, don't hate me for this, but coffee is a huge negative thing when it comes to PMS. So eliminating coffee, I have coffee on the weekends and maybe like once in the week. Sometimes I'll just like go without it just because if I'm starting to experience a little bit of PMS symptoms, because it leaches a lot of nutrients from your body big time. And like I said before, we're trying to fill your body with nutrients. You're experiencing less of these symptoms. So coffee specifically contributes to breast soreness. So if you're someone who gets really sore boobs around your period, try eliminating coffee. Just do it for a month. Do it for a month and see how you feel. See what kind of changes you have around your period. And let me know. I would love to know, because this is something that was a huge thing for me. So what I do instead of coffee is I use this Dandy Blend. So this is a coffee alternative. It kind of tastes like instant coffee, but it has dandelion in it. And so that is helps with your liver, helps to detox your liver. So that's an added benefit of that. And it tastes like instant coffee. So that's something I was using as an alternative, because I do like to have a warm beverage in the morning. And so that's what I'll choose instead. And so I will make it just as I would a normal coffee. And that's something that's totally helped for sure. So don't hate me, but get rid of the coffee. That'll help improve your PMS symptoms a lot. And then finally, doTERRA makes this blend. It's a monthly blend for women. It's called Claricom. So this has been a lifesaver for me. This is absolutely amazing. If you are going through any menopause, hot flashes, cramps for your period, anything like that, hormonal balance, this is a freaking lifesaver. So this is what you're going to roll it on your abdomen every day before your period, and like a week before your period. And it helps to eliminate so many symptoms. It helps to balance your hormones. So if you're going through like menopause or anything like that, it really helps to balance that self out. Nausea, hot flashes, mood swings, cramps, all that kind of stuff. So this is a go-to for me for sure. Now, with my anxiety, so as I mentioned before, I still get like little baby bouts of anxiety every now and again. One oil that's really helped me out with that is the Balance blend from doTERRA. So this, I would just literally take off the cap and just inhale it. I'd put a drop on my wrists and inhale it as much as I could. And it's a grounding blend. So it helps to relieve any anxious feelings. It helps promote calmness throughout your body. And this is something that it works immediately. So it just helps with the overall calmness. And then lavender as well, as I mentioned before. Those are two that are really, really good for anxiety. I find that, oops. Okay, it's telling me I had 10 minutes left, so I'm going to get through this as fast as I can. Anxiety is usually linked to stress. So as I mentioned before, that my job that I was in created a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. So it's really important that you address the outside stressors in your environment and where you can make changes. Figure out where you can make changes to lessen stress and anxiety in your life, okay? Now, one oil that I don't have with me right now is called the Elevation Blend. So this is one for if you're more in a depressive state. It helps to elevate your mood, increase your energy, increase your feelings of confidence, and lessen stress in your body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a couple of options. So I'm offering a couple freebies today. I'm going to post in the link here. I'm just going to close this for 1 second. I'm going to post in the chat. If you guys are wanting to kick the sugar like we've been talking about, I'm going to post a free 72-hour sugar-free challenge that you guys can take advantage of, and goes over all the kind of stuff, the protocol, and get the sugar out of your diet, okay? And then I'm also offering a discount right now. Oh, no, okay. I think I'm just going to have to share my screen with you guys, so bear with me. All right. Okay, I think you guys can see that, I hope. So that's the sugar-free challenge. I'm just going to copy this for you guys and put that in there. And this is getting in my way here. Sorry, bear with me. Stuff is in the way. There we go. Okay, so what I'm offering for you guys today, if you're ready to make some of the changes that we've been talking about today, is this AromaTouch Diffused Kit. So it comes with 5 ml bottles of a lot of the oils that I talked about today. So lavender, wild orange is another uplifting one for feeling down and out. It has the balance in here. So this is for anxiety. It comes with the fractionated coconut oil and also a diffuser. So you can never have enough diffusers, like I mentioned before. And so this is $180 Canadian. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer the Clary Calm. Okay, so I'm just going to stop share right now for a second here. So with that kit, I'm going to be offering either the Clary Calm, so the menstrual PMS blend, or the Elevation, which is the one for depression that I was just talking about. One of those 2 oils for free with that kit. So I'm going to be offering that for the next 24 hours. So up until tomorrow, I will be sending you guys an email. So yeah, let me know. The offer is only going to go for 24 hours before it expires. Also talking about the multivitamins and stuff as well. They have a 3-pack of the vitamins. So as I was mentioning before, the 3-pack of multivitamins, as I mentioned before, it's super important to make sure you're getting enough of the proper nutrients in your diet. So the multivitamin that comes with fights the free radicals. It has 22 essential vitamins and minerals. It helps support your digestion and immune function. So super important for that. Also comes with omega-3 essential oils, as we were talking about before. So this is super important for healthy function of your brain, nervous system, healthy skin, and it also contains vitamin D as well. And then the extra little added bonus in here is the Alpha CRS. And so what this one does is it supports mental clarity. Again, it helps with free radicals as well and brain function. So it's a cellular vitality complex. So all those 3 come together, and it's $95 for all 3 of those. And then you end up getting 25% off any future purchases that you want as well. So yeah, again, the first kit with all the oils, $180 Canadian plus the free oil of your choice. Let me know if you guys are interested. It's telling me I have only a couple minutes left now, so I'm going to let you guys go, but I will send a follow-up email. And if you have any questions, let me know. Please reply to my email. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. And, I really want to hear how you guys incorporate some of these tips into your lifestyle and the kind of difference that it makes, because it's very important to me, because I want to share all this knowledge with you guys, and I want you guys to be feeling your best, and I want you guys to be in the place that I'm at right now, because I used to be where you are. If that's what you're going through, I was there. And so anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of the evening. This was great, and I'll send the replay to your email as well. Okay, have a great rest of the night, you guys.